rain, snow, cold, heat, doesn't matter.
No excuses.
No excuse. And so they tried to silence it. But guess who went D1?
She did.
Me.
And she's a gritter. It happens all too many times where you follow a path that someone said, and then what happens? Hello, everyone. My name is Jahdai Jones, your host for Mental Edge, a podcast by Conscious Athlete by G.R.I.T. We're back here today. I'm here with Lauren Miller.
Hello, hello.
New special guest. Coach has been the guest for the past 4, but now we got Lauren, so.
Yes. Pleasure to be here.
Check out repping Conscious Athlete, both of us. Not for sale.
Not for
sale. You know, we had to be fitted because this is a podcast that you need to be fitted for. And so we're going to jump into a lot today, but first I'm going to let her give a little intro, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, so my name's Lauren Miller. I ran D1 track at Oregon State. I was a part of G.R.I.T for 10 years, so since I was 14, I'm 24 now. And I... Anyways, I am still running to this day, and I plan on running in December, which is, at the time of this recording, less than a month away. So, very excited. But, yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
Let's go. Lauren's getting back on the track. I'm getting back on the track.
Yep.
I know I said dang, but I'm 22, so we've both been in G.R.I.T for, like, almost over 10 years, and it's always changing. So, we're going to dive into what G.R.I.T is, who she is, her story, and we've got a lot to unpack. A lot to unpack. So make sure to get your popcorn, get a snack, settle down. Or if you're listening to this on your way somewhere, you're going to want to
get comfy.
So let's just start with that D1. So Lauren went D1. And let me tell you how rare this is for our beautiful community. People don't go D1 like she would D1. People don't go D1, period. And Lauren got a full ride to Oregon State. And it was off of hard work, dedication, and just pure grit, as we say. And, you know, the thing about the community that we're in is that it's just, you don't see things like that happen. And so we want to share that story.
Yeah.
And so, Lauren, let's just first, like, kind of give us your thoughts of, like, why did you want to go D1? And let's start there.
I wanted to go D1 because I wanted to be great, basically. I had always loved track, even in middle school before like I met G.R.I.T or anything. I enjoyed track. I loved doing it. I loved the sort of environment and like feelings it gave me to be on the track and run a race and all that. So going forward, I was introduced to G.R.I.T, and I think that really propelled me into the idea and the actual reality of being able to go and be a D1 athlete. And I wanted to be good at what I was doing. So, you know, I think it was just a lot of love and a lot of like perseverance that I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to go D1 and I want to be good at the sport. And so she did. And so I did.
And the work that it took
is much more than you might think. But yes, the work that it took, a lot of tears, a lot of time, a lot of dedication, a lot of sacrifices.
Much more than anyone here has seen. I'm just saying.
Much more.
Because I was there to see Lauren's whole process. And I was there to see you know, when she had her lunchbox, when she changed her nutrition, when she showed up to practice every day, when you dropped your whole friend group, when you did all these things and you still like she was still like, what were you were in other clubs in high school too, right?
Yeah, I was like president of NAHS. I was doing the G.R.I.T stuff, and then I was also just like in a lot of like extracurriculars. So.
And I watched her work hard, and I saw your family situation, I saw the school situation, and they were not there to support like you needed. No. And that's just to see you come out on the other side of that and be successful and get what you want is amazing. And that is something that I'm super excited to keep talking about. So,
yeah, I think that the environment in particular of where I was in those 4 years and like sort of like the trajectory might have looked completely different if it was a different atmosphere and a different environment, but it wasn't. And I think that some of those issues are still prevalent to this day in our community. And so just being able to like talk through what I'm thinking and what the thoughts were at the time would be.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So let's take a trip back.
Okay.
Take a trip back to the past, right?
Take a trip back.
Grit obviously came in.
Mm-hmm.
That was huge for your development, my development, as a person and as an athlete. So talk about a little bit how Grit was there to kind of support and what Grit meant to you.
Oh man, I joined Grit and I was like a little scrawny, like white girl, just barely got muscle on my bones, barely getting there, and joined my summer going into freshman year. And they really projected me into the athlete that I am today. I don't think I would be anywhere near where I'm at without Grit. I think that they showed a lot of like what it means to be disciplined, what it means to sacrifice, what it means to work hard in particular, because we worked hard. Me and Jahdai had moments at that time, literally felt like you just have to shut off your brain because you're working so hard.
And she's so right. We worked so hard. I'm cutting in here to say we did, to emphasize how hard we actually worked. We went to practice 3 times. How many?
3 times a
3
week.
times
And
a
then we
week.
did home workouts like 3 other days a week.
Recovery. Mind you, I started Grit at like 12 or 13. And when I started, I couldn't be at Grit as much as I wanted to. And I asked for like a home workout every day.
Every day.
And I remember asking coach, and he'd be like, "You so disrespectful." I would only text workout. That's it. And I'd be like, just to get the work in. Like at that age of when I was like 12 or 13 and you were like, what, 15 or 16? We were putting in like 4 miles, 3 miles, like on top of regular training.
Rain, snow, cold, heat, doesn't matter.
No excuses.
No excuses.
Every single day. And I remember coach would be like, do 3 miles today, do 4 miles. You can literally look on our Strava accounts and see like backtrack what we were doing and what we were running. So yeah, we worked hard.
And it's not like I'm gonna choose to work hard one day or, I can start tomorrow. No, we started then. We started every single day. It's now. You don't have time. If you want to be great, you don't have time to just wait for somebody to save you or someone. It's not going to happen. You need to get your butt off the ground and you need to start working. Like I'm being legit. Like there's no other way around it, because I think the atmosphere or in the environment, I don't know what environment you are in, right? But in the environment that we're around, it does not promote greatness.
No.
It does not promote hard work, and it gives a facade of what hard work really is. And so you have to literally you need to go somewhere, get yourself together, and you need to start today. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, I think that's the biggest thing that I did was like, I have to do this for myself, and I have to do it now because no one else besides like Grit in the environment around me is gonna do it with me. So we had to figure it out, and we had to go forward with that. And I think that that's missing in a lot of mindsets nowadays.
Yes. There are no other options.
No.
And people give themselves multiple options. And if the work is there, then it can be done. And if you know what to do, then it can be done. And it needs to be done right away. Because your dreams are not waiting on Monday. That's a job. That's working.
It's a job.
That's 9 to 5.
If you wanted a job, you can wait till Monday.
Yes.
And that's perfectly fine.
It's fine.
Perfectly fine. But if you want D1, or if you want something
Great.
outside of the norm, you start now.
Yeah.
You start right now. You cannot wait till Monday. You can't wait till the day after. You can't hem and haw about it. You have to do it then.
And if you're honest with yourself, if you're honest with yourself at a young age and you get it before we did, because trust me, we've had our hiccups and whatever, and that's why we can talk about it, because we know what it's like. But we were not the people to put something to the back burner. And that's how we've been since we were younger.
Yeah.
And it's a mindset. You have to choose every day what you're gonna do, no matter how many activities you have, how many friends you have, how much of all of this. It is a choice. And I think what people avoid that choice, and there's this facade that you can skip out on that work and get what you want and make people see these great accomplishments and they think that it's easy. That's not easy.
That's not easy. And I don't know if it's just like the specific community that we're in or the way social media is or whatever, but you can't take one section of one piece of time and think, oh, I did work. That it is not a snapshot. It is not, you don't take a freaking Polaroid photo of this moment and call it a day. That is not what's up. You have to continue when nobody else is looking. That's another thing. When nobody else is there to keep you accountable, are you working hard? And I think the big precipice of that is having a goal or something, because what motivated us was, for me, I was like, I want to go D1 and I want to be great. And for Jahdai, it was, I want to run track.
Yeah, I want to run track. And that was it.
And that was it. And that was like singular focus.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I was just like, I want to run. Now, mind you, we dip into my story. I had a lot of factors to where it was like thinking D1 and all that was never something that I wanted. I did not go to school. I dipped out of that, but I'm doing pretty great. But Lauren did go to school and she chose that and she wanted that. So the fact that you accomplished it shows like what a mindset can do. And the fact that you accomplish it from here shows even greater what a mindset can do, because support is everything.
Support is everything. And just to give a little bit of context of like what I mean by like saying, oh, like your environment, I believe that I had some family, like home situation, right? So there was butting heads between me and my family on where I should go to college. And so that was always like a mind thing, right? And then also the school I was in, Jahdai can attest to, did not support our track team and put us into compromising situations that did not benefit us in any which way, shape, or form. And then they did not celebrate our victories.
No.
So whenever you are trying to be and moving forward into something like that and trying to achieve your goal, and you have these factors that aren't pushing you up, then it can lead to a lot of mental stuff.
Yeah.
And we fought that a lot.
Yeah.
It was a struggle, but we obviously had grit to help us there.
We had grit to back us up, but it was like you said, that mental toll that it takes when you don't have just those simple things, because some people have like those schools and amazing families and stuff like that will back them no matter what.
And that's great.
Yeah, and that's exactly how it should be. It shouldn't be that Lauren, our president, she had to go up to the office every single day to see where our uniform funds were, because they were never, always mislocated.
Always mislocated. Never available.
Never
mind
available.
You.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a single adult besides our coach who we could find support with.
Yeah.
In that place. So
we are so blessed. I'm so happy that we had someone like Coach, because had we not, we would have never known that this was wrong, because this was like the environment that we were raised in, and this is what the previous generations did before us, you know?
Yeah.
So we had no standard and no idea of what an expectation was to be great. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, without grit and without Coach Swift and Mama Swift, like, sacrificing what they did for us on the track team, our high school track team would have never been what it was. It started off as, like, it was just way different. And
it was,
Coach talks about it a little bit in our podcast, building better people with grit. So make sure to go watch that when you're done with that. And it kind of gives you a little more background on grit. But he completely transformed that track and field program. And he completely instilled a different mindset in the kids that they can take now. But now that he's no longer at the school, it tracks back. It's going back to what it was. It's
going back.
And it's so unfortunate to see.
And it's getting, from my perspective, it's gotten worse.
Yeah.
I think that, especially with like multitudes of factors, right? So COVID hit, and then I think a lot of things shifted at that time. It shifted for me. It shifted for everyone, right?
Yeah.
And so that happened. Plus, they don't have somebody who will advocate for them. Yeah. Somebody like Coach, or even just like a figure that they can rely on and find protection in.
Or even because we are 4 or 5 years out of high school, that group of just track and field athletes who knew how to work hard, and I promise you, any other athlete who was on that track team knew the gritters. They knew how hard we worked, and a lot of people were not willing to put in that work. But they had a level. They saw a level of like hard work.
Of expectation.
A level, a standard. And so you could be like, oh, I remember people like, oh, we want to be like, because we had separate groups, because there was like a JV, and then there was like a varsity, and like a grit. Grit was separated pretty much because we worked hard. Yeah. And a lot of people didn't want to do the same work we did.
And be mad about it.
We worked hard throughout the whole year. And we sacrificed a lot of time and a lot of pain.
Lots.
And we showed up, because when we came to meets, people knew who we were. And they're like, oh, who are those girls? It's like, yeah.
We're the gritters.
We're the gritters. What's up? And so we work for that. But anyways, there's not even that anymore. No. There's not people. Athletes don't have somebody or someone to push them to look for, like, to know what hard work is. And we were so lucky to have, like I said, we're so lucky to have coach. But now that that's not there, what are they supposed to do? Who are they supposed to go off of? So now it's just this whole like fake facade fest on what hard work is and what will get you to the next level.
And who knows how many other situations there might be out there, right? Where people are saying, oh, if you do this, you'll get that. But they've never been in that situation. They've never gone D1, and they're promising them D1 prospects and don't show them the hard work or the effort that it takes to get where they are. So you're selling them a false dream, and you're giving these kids like mental issues, basically, because now you've promised them something that they will not receive.
And they are going to struggle. And the struggle that comes after you leave high school, and nobody wants to talk about it. After you leave high school, after you graduate college, because you've believed in a false reality and that this is greatness and this is going to work on the outside, and it doesn't, it messes up your mind. It really does. And it takes so much work and so much patience to bring yourself on the other side of that. And if you didn't have something like grit, what do you do? So we really want to, that's why we're shedding light on that, because one, it's possible to work yourself out of that. And two, you can definitely do it, but remember what's real and what's not real.
And that's not to say that all hope is lost for these kids. That is not what we're saying, right? What we're saying is that it's going to take work, actual work, to get through that. It's going to take actual work to get where you want to be. And whenever you've been working in a, quote unquote, working in a way that you think is going to propel you forward, and then you have somebody in the position you want to be in, you need to take what they're doing and apply it to your life and listen to these people. Please.
We will beg you to listening will be your best skill. Yes. Listening and communication, best things. You see someone doing what you want and you have access to them, or you see someone who has what you want, or you see someone with a work ethic that you want. You need to talk to them.
Desperately.
Stop. I understand there can be fear when it comes to communication. I get it.
100%.
But everybody has fear. We all have it.
It's a human emotion.
And as Coach talked about, false evidence appearing real, you need to put the fear to the back burner. Put on the big boy pants or big girl pants and just talk to that person, because you're not going to get what you want talking to the people who don't have what you want.
And to say, right, I believe, right, whenever you're young, you think these people really mean the best. You believe, and, from their mind frame, from what they can believe, it is what's best for you, right? I don't believe that people say things out of malicious intent.
No.
So if you have the thoughts of, oh, well, they're saying this so they must have, because they want me to do well, you're absolutely right. They do want you to do well. They just don't know how to do it.
Period.
And you have to understand that. And whenever you diverge away from what they believe is going to work, you are going to face the retributions and the consequences of what they believe is going to work.
And those same people who tell you what's going to work for you, They're not, like she said, not doing it maliciously, but they tell you that. And then when it doesn't work, they're not there to support you anymore.
They're not going to save you.
No, they are telling you that, they may tell you that, oh, it just didn't work out, or maybe you didn't do enough. It happens all too many times where you follow a path that someone said, and then what happens?
You get left high and dry.
High and dry when it doesn't work. When you don't go D1, when you don't go to that school you want, when you don't get that job, when you don't do the things, but you did everything right by their book.
And then you are left with your own thoughts.
Yes, and that right there, left with your own thoughts, that space is deteriorating. And it feels like you can't get out of it sometimes. But guess what? Like she said,
You
all
can.
hope is not lost. You can.
You can. And I think that if you expect your goals to be a linear path where, because you're doing the right thing, good things are going to happen to you, that's an absolute lie. I went D1 and I signed on a foldable table in the middle of the grass lawn at my school with the gritters around me. And I was the first D1 athlete to go D1 on a full ride. And God, I don't even know. I do not know the last person like me who went D1.
There hasn't been anyone, I haven't heard of anyone since you who went like on a full ride.
And the school despised me because of it.
They did.
And they despised our coach. And they despised the gritters. And so they tried to silence it. But guess who went D1?
She did.
Me.
And she's a gritter.
And it instilled me with qualities and traits that will carry me through. For these other kids, what did they instill in them? You left them after you celebrated, you gave them their cake, and then you let them clean up the mess. No one was there.
And you told them all that they should be going D1 anyway, right? And nobody went D1. One person.
And whenever that person went D1, crickets. Nobody supported her. No one supported her when she went D1 besides the gritters. We got you. Thank you.
Because we knew what work went behind it. And it wasn't as easy as everyone made it out to seem. And the fact that after there was no support, crickets, you're signing on a foldable table on our track. And it was only us. There's literally a picture. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
And you're the one who got the goal that everybody said they wanted to.
Preaching to the choir. We want to support the kids.
We want to
support the youth as long as you do it our way. If you do go a different route,
no support.
No support. In fact, we want to erase you because, you know, these kids have a better chance doing it our way. And you never went that way. And you never.
And they
ever.
never produced a kid who went that way.
Never.
And that's just the end of story.
You are hurting these kids because of some reason, pride, whatever, hatred of coach or anything. But you need to look at your environment and truly look at the facts. Be like, hey, I want to go D1. Who else has gone D1 here?
Who else? Who's done it?
You look at this wall. Not a D1 in sight. You know why? Because I ain't there. Who has coached a D1 athlete?
But that's why she's on this podcast, to tell you she did it.
I did it. And you can find people too. But you have to assess your environment and your situation and see what's truly best for you. Reaching out to people who have done what you've done, like you said, is really, really important. And I also believe that is half the battle. And the other half is with yourself.
Yes.
We touched on it a little bit before, but I think that the environment is great if you make it great, and you have to really think about what you want.
Just being completely honest with yourself and being completely honest with your coach. That is a huge part of any process. And that's a huge part of what's going to get you to the next level, is that trust.
Yeah. That's how you grow, is if you're honest.
Yeah.
I think that me and you would have saved from so much turmoil if we were just honest. Because let me tell you, we lied. We was lying out of our ass all the time. And we got absolutely nowhere until we started being honest with ourselves and what we wanted and what we were like capable to do at our mindset at that time.
Yeah.
Right?
And
like,
when she says that we were like lying, it came from like the feeling. Like when your coach asks you, how do you feel? And is everything okay because you're running off? And you're like, oh yeah, it's fine.
I'm fine.
I'm fine. Like everything's fine. So for me, it was like something would happen at home, like, or something would and it would just take an effect on my emotional like health. And I just could not be running. I was 15 and there was just too much happening in a 15-year-old's life. And so when I show up to practice and coach would be like, are you like, what's going on? Your run's out. I'm like, I'm fine.
And leave it at that.
And then that does absolutely nothing for your process or for yourself. Like if something's affecting you and affecting your run, then you need to address it. Period. And address it when it happens. Don't lie. It just wastes time. Or if you're doing the work or not. If coach asks you and your coach says, did you do this work? And you're like, oh yeah, I remember. And you didn't? Why are you lying?
The body will tell all.
Yes, if you're not doing the work that was sent to you, like at home, the extra work, you're not eating right or whatever, then it will show, especially on the track. I think track is like the biggest tell-all sport. Like you can't hide an injury. You can't hide if you ate bad. You can't hide if you feel bad. You can't hide anything because it shows everything.
If you're mental a wreck, it'll show. It'll show.
I ran the same time in every race my like junior year, and I had some mental stuff happening, just because of everything that was going on, and that toll on the mental is insane.
Yeah, just being honest, like you said, don't lie to yourself, to others. And I think that if you're lying about what you really want, it will also affect what you do, right? Like, I want to go D1, but you're not putting in the effort of going D1, or you haven't reached out to somebody, or you're not following somebody who has gone D1. I think maybe just thinking a little bit longer. And it's okay if you don't want that. Johnny did not want to go D1.
I didn't even want to go to school.
She didn't want to go to school. Like, it's totally okay to have different ideas about like what you want to be great in or what you want to do with your life. Completely okay. But lying about it is only going to delay your process and who you are meant to become. Yeah, I always think that our goals build on themselves.
They do.
Right? Like, because after I went D1, there was the idea that I could go pro. Right? But that was not in my mind. At first, I just wanted to go to college and run. I think they build on each other. So even if you think, oh, this is too small for me or whatever, who says that? Who said that? Was that you or was that somebody else? Who put that into your brain? And just really following what you believe that you think is what your heart belongs
what
to.
your heart desires. Thanks for watching this podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. We know you did. Make sure to follow us on Apple Music, Spotify, and we're also on YouTube for visual. If you like visual things, we got me and Lauren on the podcast. And make sure to follow our Instagram, which is Conscious Athlete by Grit. We're also on Facebook and TikTok. So get on that. And we wish you guys a great week.
Great life.
Let's
get going.
Get going. Stop waiting for your dreams. They're happening now.
Yep. As I said last night, let's do it.
Let's do it.